You got the raise. You bought the thing. You reached the goal you'd been chasing for years. And within weeks, sometimes days, it stopped feeling like anything at all. That's not you being ungrateful, and it's not you being broken. There's a very specific mechanism in your brain designed to do exactly this, to take your happiness and quietly hand it back to you, almost as fast as it gave it. And there's one number coming up later in this video that shows exactly how fast this happens. Most people guess it wrong by years. Stay with me, because once you see this pattern, you'll start noticing it everywhere in your own life. Let's get into it. The feature, not the bug. Here's the first thing to understand. Your happiness fading quickly isn't a malfunction. It's called hedonic adaptation, and it's one of the most well-documented patterns in all of psychology. The core idea is simple. Humans adjust remarkably quickly to almost any new circumstance, good or bad, and then return to something close to their baseline level of happiness. Win the lottery, and within a year or two, your happiness typically settles back down near where it started. Experience a serious setback, and, just as strangely, most people also recover back toward their baseline, faster than they'd ever predict. This isn't a flaw in your character. It's a feature your brain evolved on purpose, and the reason why is more useful than you'd expect. Why your brain does this on purpose. Think about what would happen if adaptation didn't exist, if every good thing kept generating the same intensity of joy forever, with no fading. You'd have no reason to keep striving. The first success would satisfy you completely, permanently, which sounds appealing, until you realize it would also remove any motivation to keep growing, adapting, or improving. Evolutionarily, an organism that stayed maximally content after one win would be quickly outcompeted by one that kept pushing for more. So, your brain is built to reset, deliberately. It treats each new achievement, each new possession, each new circumstance, as the new normal, remarkably fast, specifically so you keep striving, rather than settling into permanent satisfaction. This is efficient, from an evolutionary standpoint. It's also the exact mechanism responsible for that hollow feeling, right after you get something you thought would finally make you happy. And here's where the number comes in. Because researchers have actually measured how fast this reset happens, and it's faster than almost anyone expects. The number. Almost nobody guesses right. Here it is. Across a wide range of studies on major life events, from marriage to job promotions to significant purchases, researchers have found that the emotional boost from a positive change typically fades back toward baseline within about 3 months to a year, and for smaller purchases or wins, often within just a few weeks. Most people, when asked to guess this, wildly overestimate it. They imagine a major win will keep them elevated for years. In reality, the emotional spike is usually one of the shortest-lived parts of the entire experience. There's a well-known study following lottery winners that found their reported happiness, roughly a year after winning, wasn't meaningfully higher than people who hadn't won at all. And research on people who experienced serious negative life events found something almost equally surprising in the other direction. Happiness levels tended to recover back toward baseline far faster than people predicted, in many cases. In both directions, the pattern holds. Your brain is built to return to center, quickly, no matter what happens. Which raises an obvious question. If this always happens, is there anything you can actually do about it? There is. And it's not what most people assume. Why chasing bigger highs doesn't work. The most common response to hedonic adaptation is to simply chase something bigger next time, a bigger purchase, a bigger achievement, assuming that more intensity will finally break the pattern. This is precisely the trap. Researchers call this the hedonic treadmill, because bigger wins require even bigger wins after them, just to produce the same emotional lift, since your baseline keeps recalibrating upward to match. It's structurally identical to tolerance in other contexts. Each hit satisfies less than the last, which pushes you to chase something even larger next time, with no actual finish line. This is a major part of why external achievement alone, money, status, possessions, consistently fails to produce lasting happiness, increases, even when each individual achievement felt genuinely meaningful in the moment it happened. The moment passes, the treadmill keeps moving, and chasing a bigger version of the same thing just keeps you running in place, a little faster each time. So if bigger highs aren't the answer, what actually is? This next part is the part that matters most. What actually resists adaptation? Here's the genuinely useful part. Research has identified specific categories of experience that resist hedonic adaptation far better than others. 1. Experiences adapt slower than possessions. Studies comparing material purchases to experiential ones, travel, shared meals, concerts, consistently find that experiences produce more durable happiness. Part of the reason is that experiences keep generating value after they end, through memory, storytelling, and identity, in a way a static object on a shelf simply doesn't. 2. Variety slows adaptation dramatically. Adaptation happens fastest when a positive experience is identical, repeated. Introducing variety, even small variety, resets the novelty your brain responds to. This is part of why the same amount of money spent on several smaller, varied experiences tends to produce more lasting happiness than the same amount spent on one large, singular purchase. 3. Savoring extends the emotional payoff. Deliberately pausing to notice and appreciate a positive experience, rather than rushing past it toward the next goal, has been shown to meaningfully slow the adaptation process. This isn't passive, it's an active practice of attention, and it works specifically because it counteracts the automatic, unconscious nature of adaptation. 4. Relationships and contribution adapt the slowest of all. Across most of the research on lasting well-being, close relationships and a sense of contributing to something beyond yourself show up as some of the most adaptation-resistant sources of happiness that exist. They're renewable in a way achievements and possessions aren't. Each interaction, each act of contribution, is at least somewhat new, which keeps the experience from fully flattening out the way a static win eventually does. 5. Gratitude interrupts the reset. Since adaptation depends partly on your brain treating the good thing as the new, unremarkable normal, deliberately noticing and naming what's still good, even things you've had for a while, pulls it back out of the background and briefly restores some of its original emotional weight. So, back to where we started. That hollow feeling after getting what you wanted isn't a sign that something's wrong with you. It's your brain doing exactly what it evolved to do. The mistake isn't feeling the fade. The mistake is chasing bigger highs to escape it, instead of shifting toward the specific things, experiences, variety, savoring, relationships, gratitude, that actually resist it. Happiness was never going to stay at the peak forever. But now you know why, and more importantly, you know what to reach for instead. If this changed how you think about the next thing you're chasing, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And I'll see you in the next one.